This is the gateway to fulfillment and real influence, to do or to become. So as a child, I had dreams and goals to revolve my life around a game, around a field and around a ball. And actually, this jersey right here that I got my senior year of high school. And I was so on fire, I was so passionate, because I knew this would be my ticket to school, this would be my ticket to my career, this would be my ticket to my future. But something really interesting happened in my senior year. So I went through tryouts, I went through conditioning, I had got my jersey, and I actually bought this jersey as an extra jersey because I wanted to remember that season. Unfortunately, what I didn't know is that 2 weeks before we started playing games, they took me to the side to have a conversation. And the conversation was tough. They said, Jake, you're not going to be eligible to play this semester. And it was real heartbreaking for me because it was an unprecedented situation. I feel like it was really unfair. And we fought tooth and nail to try to get me to play. Because again, my dreams, my goals, my ticket to school, everything was in this jersey. And so we go back and forth, and the ultimate decision was made that I wouldn't be able to play. So it was heartbreaking to see my team go throughout that season without me. But even more heartbreaking than that, I believe the ability to not be able to play that season was not really after my player, but it was after my person. You see, throughout soccer, my whole identity was wrapped up in how good I could play, who I was on the field, and how I exemplified myself in soccer. But when this was stripped away, when I didn't have this opportunity, I really had to reevaluate the structure for my life, and it put me in a real buried situation. And so that's how I felt. I felt that I was buried under my circumstances, but my senior year of high school was a moment that a great heartbreak also provided a great opportunity. It allowed a seed to be planted in my life that would soon begin to grow and reveal to me that who I was actually not in this jersey, but it was who I was as a person. It was my identity as a person. So that opportunity came a year later when I found myself in college. So I was able to go to school. I took a year off, and I'd done some odd end things in the meantime. Never played soccer in that downtime. However, when I came back on campus, I started enjoying college dorm life. I met some great friends. One I'm still friends with this day. And so there were so many opportunities that were opened up to me for my person to be developed. But then the jersey came back knocking. In my first semester, the coach already knew who I was. I had done training camps. We were familiar with one another, and we started talking. And he said, Jake, if you want a spot on the team, it's yours. You walk on and you can play with us. So at that moment, there was a gap. There was a decision that had to be made. Am I going to continue holding on to the identity that I thought I always had been, I thought I always would be, and all I cared for? I thought that was my purpose. Or would I make the harder decision to not put this jersey back on, to allow myself to be placed in a position where a demand had to be drawn out of my life that was so much deeper than soccer? You see, in this picture, I was actually on my way to go down to a field. I had my ball with me. I had my backpack I used for soccer. And I was going by myself, actually, just to go down and play. But what you didn't know is that in this moment, in this picture, I had already made the decision that I wasn't going to play. So I had to put down this jersey. I had to unbecome everything that I thought I was, or everything that I thought I had been or wanted to be, so I could pick up the pieces and become something greater. I could bet on myself as a person. And there were so many opportunities for me to play as a player and to develop that for many years. And I'm so grateful that I had that. But how much more grateful was I when I had opportunities to develop my person? And so that came in my first semester of college. So when we talk about pursuing our player and pursuing our person, I believe this is the danger. We get wrapped up in the possibilities of who we can be in our work, in our careers, etc. We can get so consumed by it. So I want to ask you, because I asked myself the same question. I only thought, what are the possibilities of me on a soccer field? I never once daydreamed about who I could be off of one. And that was the much harder decision to make, because that was a place I was not comfortable. If you look on the caption, I wrote this November 6, 2015. I said, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. You see, some of the best opportunities we have in our life will be when you push yourself, when you challenge yourselves to be in positions that are uncomfortable. And it's only you that has the choice to do that for yourself. So when I placed in my position to be uncomfortable, a few things started happening. I noticed that this issue wasn't only a soccer issue. I noticed that this issue could also come up in my life as an adult. Let me give you an example. I call this the cycle of the player. So we have a 9-to-5 job. We can pursue degrees, professional developments, education, next levels of influence, next positions, right? But I wonder why we only tend to think about the possibilities for our career and not for our character. If the same is true for my career, that I have to put in hours to develop, build relationships, challenge myself, then the same has to be true for your character. And so that's the question I want to pronounce with you today. When we come into a situation where we are captivated by ability, when we believe that the ability is the only thing a part of our life, it then begins to start to mask an identity. For example, it starts becoming who I am. And now I'm operating out of a place of what I can do, of what I can produce, of how well I can perform, and not out of simply just who I am as a person. So it's an endless cycle. Because after game, after game, after goal, after achievement, after achievement, after achievement, we want to try to maximize it to the very top. But I wonder what the cost of that lifestyle is. I wonder how long we can keep up that kind of attitude. Because I believe it is so much easier for me to show up at a 9-to-5 job, to clock in, to do my work, and then leave. But it takes real courage. It takes real commitment to show up and work not only as your player, but as your person. Because now your person is in an uncomfortable situation to sacrifice self for the benefit of other people. And this is the cycle we can catch ourselves in. And again, it's not sustainable. Because now what I do in my worth towards my work is only determined by what I can produce, what I can perform, how many classes I can register for students, how many workshops I can give for them, how many registrations I can do, etc. That's it for me. What is it for you? So in my life, I found it super difficult to share my being with other people, but I had no issue sharing my player with other people because I knew soccer in and out. I knew the games. I knew the players. I could talk all day about it. It was no issue. But the moment the jersey came off, I was reluctant with sharing my being for other people. And I realized some key things between your player and your person that's going to help you. Unclothe that player. That way your person can shine and have that influence. So here are some key distinctions between your player and your person. Your player is going to have the constant pressure of pursuing outcomes and performing for others. This one's designated to hit a target, serve a project, and when we're done with that one, we're going to move on to the next one. This one is satisfied in the completion of the work. However, your person has the privilege of cultivating and pursuing possibilities and planting seeds for others, cultivating the success and nurturing it. This one is satisfied in being the work. Here's another clear distinction. When I put this jersey on, all the work that I did that week, all the skills that I wanted to create for myself and build myself up in was only for 90 minutes of my life. So everything I did throughout the week, everything I dedicated, only had 90 minutes of influence, 90 minutes of fulfillment. So when we have a 9-to-5 job, when we clock out, when you're not in class, when you're not in school, those things no longer require to be done. The responsibilities that you have as a student or a staff member, when you clock out and go home, that's it. They don't require for you to fulfill it anymore until the next day. But from the moment we wake up, from the moment we go to bed, we are operating out of the purpose of our life. So think about how much time we're missing out if I only pursue my player. So here's another question I want you to think about today. Is your identity being shaped by what you do, or is it being shaped by who you're becoming? It's important to ask that question for yourself today, because you're not only going to answer the question for yourself, but there's an environment, people around you who are waiting for that answer from you. Because there's things that they can only get from their life if it comes out of yours. So when we continue through, when we think about our player and our person, I want the two to collaborate together. I don't want you to take one away, because if we're taking one away, then we're only serving half of ourselves. And if we only pursue excellence in one, then the other is going to be at a serious detriment. And it's at our becoming where the real influence happens, because that's where life-changing impact will come, that's when transformative experience will come, and that's where relationship building will come. It allows them to be invited into your life. That's when that influence really begins. So when the two collaborate together, when your work and your becoming, your play or your person, work together, it's going to create vision for your life that asks these three questions. Who are you? Who do you seek to become? And who do you seek to serve? I believe everybody in this room has the capacity to serve at least one person every day. So when you come in contact with that one person today, I want you to think about some things. I want you to think about what value is that other person gaining from your player. For me, being an academic advisor, what value is a student gaining from me? Scheduling classes, doing registration, helping FAFSAs. They have a conflict with an instructor. What value can they gain from that? But so much more. What value are they gaining from my person? Who I am, what my identity is, what I value in my life, the relationships I have with family, how I overcame obstacles in college. That's the moment where the real influence begins. So your player is going to deal with the outcome and performance you conduct for others, and your player is going to deal with the opportunities and possibilities you create for others. And again, if you can impact people in a great way with your abilities, your talents, your education, your experience, please do so. But how much more are we missing out when we don't match that player with the person? Because it is at that point real influence opens up and the discovery of fulfillment begins to unfold. So the work allows for the other to be invited into your becoming. When I was playing in high school, when I was a soccer player, I learned a very, very important key to this thing, and it's this right here. The opportunity of a lifetime is in the lifetime of the opportunity. So when I was a soccer player in high school, when I had no hopes of going to college, that opportunity, lifetime, ended. It was gone. I haven't played another game of soccer to this day. It was over. Let me say it again. The opportunity of a lifetime is in the lifetime of the opportunity. But this is encouraging for you, because let me show you this. The opportunities in your life that you have to do will only be seasonal, but the opportunities that you have to become is one of a lifetime. So I wonder what you are going to do with your lifetime opportunity. In other words, I wonder what you're going to do with your lifetime invitation of becoming.